It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, we have details on a SpaceX rocket that exploded on the landing pad after its test flight.
Oh, it's a rainy Friday. We are going to find some good in it, and the fact that any wintry precip we have cannot stick around because of previous record high temperatures. All the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And we previewed the journey to Bethlehem. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We're getting started right now.
Thanks for joining us on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The FDA Advisory Committee endorses the Pfizer vaccine for emergency use following a vote on Thursday. Agency is expected to move quickly to make it widely available. The vaccine's approval came on the same day that more than 3,300 COVID-19 deaths were reported in the country. It was the most since the pandemic began, breaking a record set one day earlier. Well, CVS and Walgreens have contracts with federal and state governments to distribute COVID vaccines ahead of potential approval. CVS says they're hiring more than 10,000 new employees by the end of the year so they can serve the more than 40,000 facilities that have signed up. And Walgreens has increased its ability to store the vaccine that requires sub-zero temperatures and is ready to take it to more than 30,000 nursing homes. In Missouri, the Department of Health expects that distribution to start around December 21st. Merry Christmas. Local hospitals are once again nearing capacity as the pandemic hits the area hard. Freeman Health System has 56 COVID patients, with 11 of them in intensive care. Mercy Hospital in Joplin is currently caring for 57 COVID patients, with 8 being in the ICU. Spokesperson from Mercy Hospital says that number looks high, but it includes patients they normally would not include in their counts. They just changed how they count those patients, deciding to include patients who are COVID-19 positive but do not have to be isolated. And in Pittsburgh, Ascension Via Christi is currently caring for 19 patients. In Oklahoma, between Integris, Miami, and Grove, there's 18 COVID patients. Spokesperson for Integris says they're nearing capacity at both hospitals. Joplin police arrest 2 people in connection with a deadly fire on December 4th. The suspects, Tiffany Lukasevich from Pittsburgh and Elizabeth Baez from Joplin, are charged with second-degree murder, first-degree arson, and first-degree domestic assault for the fire on South Pitcher that killed 68-year-old David Crowder and hospitalized 2 women. Senator Pat Roberts from Kansas gave his goodbye speech yesterday on the Senate floor. In January of 2019, Senator Roberts announced he would not seek re-election after more than 20 years in the Senate and nearly 40 years on Capitol Hill. In his speech, the outgoing senator thanked Kansans and his colleagues in Congress for their support over the years.
To Kansas, I say a humble thank you. Thank you for the privilege of representing you in this great body. To my colleagues, thank you for fighting on behalf of our great nation and alongside me to preserve this chamber. It has been such a privilege. So as I ride off into the sunset to create a new normal for Frank and me, I will be cheering for the Senate to rebuild the bridges of comedy that will create a new normal. My colleagues, my time is up. Thank you for yours. I yield the floor.
Roberts will be succeeded by Senator-elect Roger Marshall. Well, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly appoints the current lieutenant governor as the next state treasurer. Lynn Rogers will replace outgoing Kansas Treasurer Jake LaTurner following his election to Kansas' 2nd Congressional District. The governor cited her running mate's nearly 40-year career in banking as the key reason for the appointment. Rogers says he hopes to expand state programs designed to help farmers and prospective homeowners obtain low-interest loans. The Democrat also plans to seek a full 4-year term in 2022. Well, Heartland Rural Electric Cooperative is building solar farms across the state of Kansas, and that includes one in Girard near Greenbush along Highway 47. The solar farm will not just provide power for nearby residents, but also a learning opportunity for the students at Greenbush.
And so we'll actually be helping to have education resources available for students after COVID happens, or after COVID is gone. We'll be able to have education resources for those students to be able to come learn about renewable energy.
The array will be built in Neosho County between Erie and Chanute along 160th Road. Well, a SpaceX rocket explodes on the landing pad after a test flight. The Starship rocket took off and had its highest altitude test flight ever, 40,000 feet, but then didn't quite stick the landing, blowing up as it tried to touch down on a floating landing pad. Ooh, check that out. 16-story prototype is under development by SpaceX to someday bring humans and cargo to Mars. CEO Elon Musk seemed undeterred on Twitter, though, writing, "Fuel header tank pressure was low during landing burn, causing touchdown velocity to be high and RUD, but we got all the data we needed." Sometimes you have to fail to succeed, Michael.
You do, and I'm not one that like shouts environment, environment, environment. And obviously, folks, I know it's important. Look at what I do. What do they do with the debris and the fuel and whatnot?
I'm sure they have hazmat in their back pocket down
You're
there.
sure about that?
I would hope so. It's Elon Musk. He's got to.
Okay. I'm just throwing it out there.
You think they
I don't
just
have
leave-
an answer.
You think they just leave the debris? Although that would be a cool collector's item.
I don't have an answer. I was just curious. That's all I was asking. You know, Tanya, past couple of days, we've taken this shot at this same point in time during the show. It was 7:06, about to be 7:07 right now, and it's been beautiful blue skies. But I tell you what, we've got a lot of developments as the rain has finally moved in. This right here, just on the east side of Thayer, is going to skirt Chanute, but that's where we're seeing our heaviest rain. But it's going to be an elongated affair because this goes through northeast Oklahoma, all the way through central Oklahoma down to Texas, and it's just going to keep on taking this same track all day long. So yeah, those record highs that we talked about on Wednesday and Thursday of the distant past. Even got a little rain-dotted Freeman Health System sky camera here in Joplin. 57 degrees is where we stand. So we've seen this drop 3 degrees here in the past 2 hours. It's not going to be one of those where we go straight down on the thermometer. Going to kind of be a gradual crawl down. But at the same point in time, we're now seeing 40s in Iola and Yates Center, those sedan in there as well. And that'll be your dividing line as far as where your temperatures fall as it works from northwest down to southeast. So everybody down here, we even saw some 60s earlier in southwest Missouri. That's going to be a thing of the past by the time we get to the afternoon. Now for the bus stop forecast, I think the most important thing is keeping them dry because while it's not chilly right now, like I said, our temperatures are going to slowly decrease. And so when we get into the afternoon hours, you go to pick them up, you know, they're walking out, it's 58, 60 degrees. Well, when they get home, only 53. And that's certainly not too bad. But what we've got coming on the heels of that, when the sun goes down, whoo, is going to get chilly here for the weekend. As a matter of fact, we're talking about overnight lows in the 30s, highs of only 40 on Saturday, 30 on Sunday. Tanya, let's break down that snow on that Sunday panel here when I see you in just a second.
Like a plan. Up next, a coronavirus vaccine is one step closer to rolling out across the country after a panel of independent scientists concludes the one from Pfizer BioNTech is safe and effective. We'll have the latest on that. Plus, Jesse.
And we look at what happens when you study polar bears. That and how you can write letters to Santa coming up on the KOA Morning News on Fox 14 after this.
Well, a major retailer wants to help make the COVID-19 vaccine readily available to Americans. More than 5,000 Walmart and Sam's Club pharmacies are being prepared to receive doses once deemed safe for the U.S. The stores are making sure they have freezers and dry ice to store the vaccine. We're in the deadliest time frame of the coronavirus pandemic in America, with 3,100 deaths reported by Johns Hopkins University on Wednesday alone. The coronavirus vaccine is one step closer to rolling out across the country after a panel of independent scientists concludes the one from Pfizer BioNTech is safe and effective. It comes as the nation is facing a record number of daily deaths. Bafta Yimam has the latest.
independent review of the data.
A government advisory panel voted to recommend widespread use of the coronavirus vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech yesterday.
So we do have a favorable vote.
The Food and Drug Administration is now expected to follow suit.
We could see FDA authorization of the first vaccine in the United States within days.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says doses will start shipping within 24 hours of the FDA's emergency use authorization.
I'm on call for when it gets delivered.
Some hospitals have already been sent vaccine kits containing syringes, masks, and a diluting agent.
The logistics here are going to be complex, but we're really excited about it.
The vaccine is coming at a time when the U.S. is seeing a record number of daily deaths. More than 3,100 Americans died on Wednesday.
COVID-19 was the #1 cause of death in Idaho in November.
The first doses will go to healthcare workers and nursing home residents, with most of the general public not expected to get the shots until the spring.
The whole country's on fire. This crisis that we have right now, the vaccine is not going to save us.
Health workers are concerned the holiday season is just making matters worse.
It's very frustrating for us because we're trying to save people and take care of you.
Next week, the vaccine from Moderna is scheduled to go through the same approval process as the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Bofta Imam, CBS News, Washington.
Vaccines from Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca and Oxford University are also in the pipeline. Well, an Arizona hospital hosts a wedding for a 22-year-old woman suffering from bone cancer. Nurses at Banner Thunderbird Medical Center in Glendale were admiring Samantha Preston's engagement ring when an idea popped up. Preston is currently receiving extensive chemotherapy treatment for late-stage osteosarcoma. Since a full-scale wedding during the pandemic was not safe, the hospital teamed up with nonprofit group Smiles for Miles to host a wedding for her. The hospital bought flowers, cake, and hired a photographer and professional makeup artist for the big day. Aw, that's sweet. Glad they were able to get that done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tremendous. If you want the, folks, if you want the epitome of good in your morning, I think our producer Gus Bernetti and Tanya reading that just stuck the landing right there. Woo! Okay, let me get cleaned up here a little bit. Sorry, that hit close to home right there. Hold on, I'll be good. Past 2 days, of course, we've had beautiful sunrises across the 4 states, but now with our cloud cover and our rain that has rolled in, do want to pay attention to just here on the east side of Chanute, just moved out of Thayer, now rolling through Labette County as well. This will track through Crawford, kind of take a diagonal, and then we've got some that's going to push through Jasper and then up to Barton County. No lightning, just but those pockets of heavy rain. And the reason I put the storm tracks on there is just to give you an indicator of how it's moving from southwest to northeast. From the Freeman Health System sky camera, yeah, obviously a rain-dotted camera that we see, 57 degrees. So we've kind of held steady with our temperatures. We actually started out at 60 degrees about, I don't know, 4:30, 5 a.m. we were at 60. So we had a little bit of a drop, but now kind of holding steady as we progress through. This is going to be the dividing line. Anytime you want to look at the map and the radar, that's what you're looking at, because as that wind shifts from the northwest down to the southeast, those temperatures are going to drop. So we've kind of topped out for the day. We're not going to get much warmer. As far as sunrise, we actually are technically, what are we, 6 minutes away from Joplin. We'll call it 7:22, but of course, from the tower camera there, we're not going to have a whole lot of sunrise. The trough of the jet stream has been impressive. You may remember yesterday, sitting right here, that thing's already making its way through the panhandle, and that just grabs that moisture and feeds it all the way from the Rio Grande up toward us. 7-day forecast. I'm going to jump ahead because I want to revert back and talk about Sunday. Now we know it's going to be a rainy Friday, and Saturday is going to be cool. So let's talk about this. Look at what we've got Sunday. As it develops out to the west, it's mainly going to be the southern portion of the 4 states. This is not going to be widespread. But here's why we're fortunate enough to have those record highs on Wednesday and Thursday. Any of this that hits the ground, chances are, well, when I say ground, road-wise, it's probably going to melt on contact. It's just the roads are too warm for that. So it's going to be nice to probably see some snow down to the south, but once again, not have to worry about it impacting where you want to go. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Of course, every year Time Magazine has its Person of the Year, but this year it's Persons of the Year. It's Joe Biden and Kamala Harris asking if you agree with the selection, and if not, who do you think should have been named? John James says, no way. Ken Peterson, what a joke. How much of your tax money went for this? Brian Gideon calls them frauds of the year. Jim Robinson says one of the most ignorant things I've seen. And Tiffany Monday says, well, Trump was Person of the Year when he got elected. As far as our Insta poll this morning, 72% of you say no, you do not agree with the selection. The vote's open all morning long. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Now, back to Jesse.
Well, you know, Christmas is right around the corner, and we here at KOAM, we want to hear all the good, little boys, 4 States boys and girls. We want to hear their wishes for Santa, and we're actually helping you get in touch with Santa. You go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/notes to the North Pole, and you submit your kid's letter to Santa along with a photo or a short video, and they could be featured on KOAM or on Fox 14. You just go to our website right here. It's super, super easy. And on December 17th through the 24th, Santa's going to be reading those names and wishes for our 4-state kids. And all you got to do is submit a video. You can fill out, it's really this simple. You just put your child's first name, put what part of the 4 states you're coming from, and then from there you can ask all sorts of questions. Don't fill out anything you don't want to. But ultimately you can throw stuff in there. There's even a coloring book on here, drawn by our very own Dale Switzer. It's pretty remarkable, and a great example of this is a video like this one.
Santa, my name is Dempsey, and can I please have a Mario game? Any kind, please. Bye!
See how easy it is? It's really that easy. Yeah, you just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/notes to the North Pole, and we'll have it on our Facebook as well. But it's that easy, and starting on the 17th, we're going to be playing them. So if you know a 4-state kid who would love this, let them know, because it's super easy and it's going to be a blast. So we'll continue to be accepting those, and we'll keep reminding you about it too, because it's pretty awesome. And we'll be right back on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 after this.
Well, there's a new transportation option in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Bird scooters have been available to rent for the past 2 weeks, and with the warm weather we've been having the last couple of days, people were taking advantage of the option. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to some Pitt State students who were out for a scooter ride to find out what they think.
Pittsburgh residents might be noticing a new fleet of rentable scooters scooting around the city limits.
We kept seeing them parked around town, and we're like, oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun. And then I've talked to
friends did it too, and he said it was really fun.
The Bird Company has brought a fleet of 50 electric scooters to town for folks to rent, and City Hall is happy to have them here.
We're not in the habit of restricting businesses, so we're certainly wanting to have have them as a business in Pittsburgh. We also think that it's a transportation option.
Pitt State students and friends McKenna Jennings and Courtney Mine spent part of their Thursday taking advantage of that option.
I like it. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. It's good to get out and do something, especially in the pandemic.
And speaking of the pandemic, these riders say they don't have any coronavirus concerns over using a scooter that anybody can rent because of Bird's COVID-19 safety measures.
On the app, it tells you that they wipe them down and they clean them, so that I feel like it's pretty safe. So
you can always bring your own wipes too and wipe them down before you ride them too if you have concerns.
And speaking of apps, that's exactly how you rent a Bird scooter. The Bird app will tell you where you can find one and charge you 39 cents a minute plus tax to ride them. When riders are done, Bird asks that they leave the scooter in a safe spot where the Bird cleaning team can pick them up.
You can ride for as long as you want. You can indoor ride whenever you want.
And you can just leave them wherever you want to, so that's kind of convenient too. You don't have to take them back to a certain spot or anything.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Well, a Bird spokesperson tells KOAM they've been happy with their Pittsburgh debut, and also say people looking for an activity that lends itself to social distancing should give their scooters a shot. It's time now to honor today's 4-state hero, William Ferguson, a staff sergeant in the United States Army. He served in Pearl Harbor, Korea, and 2 tours of Vietnam where he earned the Bronze Star, Army Commendation Medal, and Sharpshooter Badge. A native of Coffeyville, Kansas, we salute you, William Ferguson, our 4-state hero. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. Let's take a look at today's top stories. The FDA Advisory Committee endorses the Pfizer vaccine for emergency use following a vote on Thursday. The agency is expected to move quickly to make it widely available. The vaccine's approval came on the same day that more than 3,300 COVID-19 deaths were reported in the country. It was the most since the pandemic began, breaking a record set a day earlier. Joplin police arrest 2 people in connection with a deadly fire on December 4th. The suspects, Tiffany Lukasevich from Pittsburgh and Elizabeth Baez from Joplin, are charged with second-degree murder, first-degree arson, and first-degree domestic assault for the fire on South Pitcher that killed 68-year-old David Crowder and hospitalized 2 women. Researchers at the Norwegian Polar Institute are studying polar bears' movements, and their findings show that the large mammals are adapting despite losing so much of their natural habitat. But as the ice melts, the polar bear's future becomes more uncertain. A grim study over the summer found that if greenhouse gas emissions are not reduced, polar bear populations might be gone by the year 2100.
You heard the story about the polar bear and the brown bear?
Tell me the story.
Scientists still trying to figure out if it's kind of a genetic anomaly or whether, because the polar bear's habitat is shrinking, if it's not beginning to mate with the brown bear and create a different kind of bear species.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Tell you what, it'd be interesting if you live up north.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Because polar bears coming down south, and the brown bears are saying we can adapt to this. We can show you how to live. Like I said, hey. Survival of the fittest. I'm going to leave it at that. Live look outside of Television City where we've got rain a-falling across the 4 states, and it's going to continue throughout the course of our Friday. Put the storm tracks on, not to alarm anybody. It's nothing severe. Just want to give you an idea of the direction that everything moves from the southwest up to the northeast. Coming down real good clip right there in Cherokee County, just on the northeast side of Chanute. And now that'd be about Lamar is where it's coming down as well. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. It's been pretty constant. We were at 60 earlier. We know the cold fronts are coming, and that's your dividing line. Independence, great example right there. Independence was high 50s earlier this morning, now down to 49. It's not going to be one of those where, you take Yates Center and Neodesha, Independence, just as examples. We're not going to see them plummet down to the 30s. That won't happen until the weekend. But once that cold front does roll through, we've kind of topped out for the day. So that's going to be stagnant temperatures right there. Everybody in southwest Missouri going to be able to maintain mid to high 50s until the cold front gets there. So really for the kids, it's just a matter of staying dry. Cold temperatures really not going to be too much of an issue. Of course, you're going to need a coat this December. We knew that. But look at this. It stretches from the Rio Grande all the way up through the 4 states. So we don't have to worry about the snow for today. That could change, though, by the time we get into Sunday. So slowly moving down on the mercury, if you will. And then we kind of clear out on Saturday. It's going to be chilly, though. When I say clear out, precipitation-wise, still be mostly cloudy. But temperatures down into the 30s. Now, when we get into Sunday, this is where it gets interesting. Get a little snow that wants to move in from the west, and you'll notice mainly dominates the southern portion of the 4 states right there. But at the same point in time, remember, we had near record highs on Wednesday. We had record-setting highs in Joplin on Thursday. It's not going to stick around. Chances are that it hits that pavement, turns into water. Could get a nice little show, though, on some grassy areas as far as a little December snow. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Person of the year, minute persons of the year. It is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris asking if you agree with the selection. We'll go with Rebecca Donaldson on our Facebook page that says they have not had a chance to yet even try to make a mark on society. She says neither of them have been president. Alicia Sherman Parrish says, I do not agree. Other persons more deserving. Phil Ward says it's ridiculous. Just as bad as giving Obama a Nobel Peace Prize for what he was going to do. Now, Elizabeth Speck says 100% agree. And it makes me even more happy that it bleeps the Trump-publicans off so badly. Just one more thing for the sore losers to cry about. On our Insta poll this morning, 72% of you say no. You can still vote. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Now it's time to check in with our own Jesse Irwin.
On Saturday on KOAM, we'll be airing Journey to Bethlehem, an incredible experience that is usually an in-person one, but this year it's taken to the big screen, or whatever size screen you have in your living room. And this morning we are joined by Darren Brower, who is the worship minister with the Racine Church, who puts on the Journey to Bethlehem. Darren, how are you doing this morning?
Doing okay, doing good.
Well, usually this is an in-person experience, but you guys are doing it a little differently this year because, of course, it's 2020. So, I mean, for those who haven't been or haven't experienced this before, can you sort of paint a picture for us of what the Journey to Bethlehem is like?
Okay, well, it's a production by Racine Christian Church, and we do this every year as our gift to the community. It's a free event. Everything's free, and usually consists of an inside stage show that's about 45 minutes, and then a time outside where you walk through different scenes. Basically, you're taking a journey a family would have taken, like Mary and Joseph did when they were required to return to Bethlehem for the census back in the Bible times when Jesus was born. And so you're following that and that path and going to the different stations and getting a little bit of the story along the way.
That's really, really cool. So what's the age range for this? Can anybody show up? I assume it's for kids too, right?
Oh, yeah. Kids love it because we have live animals. We even have camels. And that's the big draw. Kids love to see the camels. And we have sheep and goats and donkeys. And so it's, kind of realistic in that matter. So the kids love it. The adults love it. And it's really cool because you get a chance families can go and do this together free of charge, and they can go have this experience and start their Christmas season off with that. So anyone from little kids to the elderly love to come see it.
Well, I have to imagine any sort of film production in 2020 is really difficult to make happen. We hear these reports out of Hollywood and out of different filming locations around the world that they have to follow these COVID protocols really closely, and for good reason. But how did you guys navigate that? I mean, first of all, this is the first time you've ever filmed the Journey to Bethlehem experience, but I mean, how did you go about sort of following protocol while also making sure that you guys are doing the Journey to Bethlehem experience justice?
Right. Well, it was a small crew. We didn't have nearly the amount of actors that we would have in a normal Journey production. So it was a much smaller crew, and then just the fact that we were able to do it in a video experience rather than having, lots and lots of people there together, helped it to be more of a safer environment or a safer production, I guess.
Well, Darren, if people want to learn more about the Journey to Bethlehem experience and give themselves a little bit of context behind what they'll be watching on KOAM this weekend, I mean, where can they go?
Yeah, you can go to our Facebook page is probably the best place to learn about Journey to Bethlehem. So you just search Journey to Bethlehem and you might type in the word Racine, Racine, because there are other ones around the country, but that should pop up, and then you can see there's a synopsis of what it's all about, and you can see we'll keep you in touch if you want to like it and follow that. You'll see updates of when things are changing and happening with Journey.
The Journey to Bethlehem airs on KOAM this weekend on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. You can learn more. Just head to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll have more info on our morning show page. Darren, thank you for joining us, and we'll be right back on the KOAM Morning News after this. Cases of cyber ransomware are on the rise during the pandemic, and criminals are targeting hospitals and schools with vulnerable remote learning environments. Federal officials expect that will continue through the 2021 academic year. Elise Preston reports.
Teachers in Huntsville, Alabama are going old school. They're printing their lessons on paper after cyber criminals hit the district with a ransomware attack locking down the computer network.
It's terrible to see a district with some motivated employees moving forward to then have one more obstacle like this.
Officials are not revealing how much ransom the hackers demand, but Huntsville is far from alone. School computer systems in Baltimore County and Hartford, Connecticut were also hit this year.
They can hijack your computer.
Cybersecurity expert Scott Schober says municipalities, businesses, and even hospitals are ransomware targets. Criminals often send a fake email to employees with a link. Clicking on it downloads malware and allows the hacker into the network.
And now the cybercriminal works laterally through the computer networks to then find the target machine or machines and then encrypt the data and then send them the ransom note.
Ransom notes like this one demand money to restore access to the computer network. Internet security company SonicWall says cases surged 40% this year. The average payment also climbed from a few $1,000s in 2018 to more than $230,000.
And usually it's done with digital currency, cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is the preferred choice, so the criminals can remain anonymous.
Security experts say it's vital for hospitals and every business to have a strong network backup system to thwart ransomware attacks. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
In October, the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security warned of coordinated cyber attacks on the healthcare industry. Well, if you were hoping to finally stock up on Clorox wipes in the near future, you may have to wait a little bit. A top Clorox executive says not to expect to see store shelves brimming with the company's popular disinfectant wipes until the middle of next year. The coronavirus pandemic has created an overwhelming demand for the wipes that's still showing no sign of letting up. Now, this marks the third time this year the company's pushed back its time frame for ending the nationwide shortages of the popular wipes. There also may be a shortage of cookies on shelves this holiday season. The company that makes Pepperidge Farm cookies warns that it's facing a shortage ahead of its busiest season, including a popular variety, like Milanos and Chessmen. Campbell's CEO blames the shortage on an increase in demand and a labor shortage. Both are results of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. According to a report by Top Data, American cookie consumption has shot up 25% since the start of the pandemic, with 1 in 5 Americans eating 3 or more cookies per day. Luckily, there isn't a shortage of Guy Fieri's trash can nachos. You can now order one of Guy Fieri's most famous creations, the trash can nachos, online. Don't tell our producer Gus about this. Goldbelly is offering 3 types of the classic nachos in the form of kits. There's brisket, pulled pork, and black bean. And I bet you Gus orders all 3. According to the Goldbelly website, the kits include everything needed to make the nachos, including a little trash can to complete the look. Each kit can feed 4 to 6 people and costs between $69 and $79. Unbelievable. They finally did it. We'll be back after this. Hey, how you doing? If you're not busy, can I show you something? Check this out. We're sharing notes with the North Pole. You just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. You can check out how you can share your child's notes with the North Pole. Look at this. We are inviting you to just share these, basically any questions that your kid has, any questions they have for for Santa, anything on their wish list. You can share a video, you can share photos. It's super easy. Just fill out this form on our website. And then next week, from the 17th all the way until the 24th, we're going to be highlighting all these different kids, and we're going to be checking in with Santa, and Santa will actually read the names and wishes from our 4 states' future. All you have to do is submit a video like this one.
Hi Santa, my name is Dempsey, and can I please have a Mario game? Any kind, please. Bye!
Do you see how easy that is? It's really that easy. I mean, it's that simple. So make sure you just head to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/notes to North Pole and submit it. So if you know a kid who lives in the 4 states who's writing to Santa this year, make sure they do it through here, because we've got an in with Santa. I'll leave it at that. All right, well, we got some moon news, by the way. NASA selected 18 astronauts for a program that could establish a sustainable presence on the moon and prepare for future trips to Mars. Now, Vice President Mike Pence revealed the new list of astronauts for the Artemis program yesterday at the Kennedy Center. He said the first woman to walk on the moon will come from this group. Mark Strassman looks at the candidates for NASA's first lunar mission since 1972.
Jessica Watkins.
Make way, Apollo era. In 2020, this is what the right stuff looks like.
The Artemis generation.
NASA's 18 Artemis astronauts range in age from 32 to 55. They include flight test pilots, geologists, and a former Navy SEAL. Half have never been to space. Half are women. And NASA intends for one of them to become a space first.
I'm either going to walk on the moon or one of my friends is going to walk on the moon. And both of those scenarios are beyond my wildest dreams when I was a kid.
It really just took my breath away.
We talked to Artemis astronaut Nicole Mann. She's currently training to fly Boeing's Starliner spaceship to the International Space Station next year. And now the moon is on her horizon too.
Would it be important to you to be the first woman to land on the moon?
You know, I would love to be the first woman to walk on the moon, but in reality, it's the bigger mission that's more important. It's important that we get there as Americans, that we get there as a human race.
To get there, NASA's developing a new mega rocket and crew capsule called Orion. But Congress is yet to fully fund the Trump administration's 2024 landing goal. And the incoming Biden administration has to agree with these excited Artemis astronauts that this moon mission matters.
And one of the important things for a huge program and a huge endeavor like this is to have that continuity across administrations. And I feel confident that we have that. This is the future of human exploration.
But if the goal here was to create moon excitement, mission accomplished.
Mark Strassman, CBS News, Atlanta.
All right, Michael, I want to know, I'm curious, would you rather go to the deepest part of the ocean or the depths of outer space?
Then everybody, I think, looking forward to that mission right there. Before we get there, we need to talk about a little taste of winter that's about to roll in on all of us. Now, luckily, nice thing is, man, we can keep this as rain. But wait till we get to Futurecast. You're a boy from the Northeast here. You may appreciate this. Like I said, everything today stays as rain. Let's kind of zoom in right here in between Cherokee and Jasper counties. That's where we got a good one coming down there, just about to cross the state line. Now, we don't have any lightning associated with it. We're not looking at anything severe. But I do want to show you the storm tracks just to give you a visual of where everything's headed from the southwest up to the northeast. From the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, our temperature's been pretty constant right now at 57. But if you'll look at the far left-hand, top left-hand corner of your screen, you'll notice those temperatures are beginning to dip as the low-pressure system has the shifting winds right there that work in from the north. So really, we've kind of topped out for today temperature-wise. Let's talk future track here. The rain continues all the way into the afternoon and evening hours. Then as it pushes out for Saturday, a mostly cloudy Saturday where the school up north refuses to play, and so be it, and so we'll find something else to watch on that. And then as we work into Sunday, watch what happens out to the west. Little snow develops out there. Now here's the thing, coming off of what we had for near record-setting highs on Wednesday and record-setting temps yesterday, the ground should be warm enough that anything that hits the pavement should just absolutely melt right into water and won't have any problems travel-wise. Now, doesn't mean you won't see a little accumulation on some grassy surfaces, so actually it could be a beautiful yet chilly day. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. A coronavirus vaccine is on the verge of being approved in the U.S. An FDA advisory committee voted Thursday to endorse Pfizer's vaccine for emergency use. The agency is expected to move quickly to make it widely available. The vaccine's approval came on the same day that more than 3,300 COVID-19 deaths were reported in the country. It was the most since the pandemic began, breaking a record set a day earlier. The Trump administration carried out its 9th federal execution of the year on Thursday night. 40-year-old Brandon Bernard had been sentenced to death for his role in 2 murders when he was 18 years old. It was the first federal execution during a lame duck presidency in 130 years. 4 more are scheduled before President-elect Biden takes office. Let's check in with the final look at your forecast.
are going to cool. All the way down into the Sunday. That's really southern portion. It's really going to be the southern portion of the 4 states. And once again, with our temperatures being so warm on Wednesday and Thursday, don't have to worry about any travel impacts with that.
Most Chinese city in Heilongjiang province, Mohi's 11th Snow and Ice Festival opened to visitors on Tuesday. The themed park, which is free to the public, covers an area of 30,000 square meters and houses numerous ice sculptures and buildings set off by multicolored lights at night. The theme park is one of a series of tourism and cultural activities Mohi has been promoting this winter. Pretty cool. Like the lights.
We'll give you Wisconsin, Iowa instead. Thanks for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great morning.
Area food pantries need our support this holiday season, so we've